Hello everyone, and welcome back to Deck Specs. Today's deck, Meklords. With a, peculiar, deck box. Let's get onto the deck. To start, I got a copy of each Meklord Emperor within Weisel, Skeel, and Grinnell. All can be summoned if a monster you control gets destroyed by a card effect and sent to the grave. Although Weisel and Skeel don't let your other monsters attack, Grinnell does. Unlike the others, who have pretty respectable attack and defense power, Grinnell's is practically tailored to your life points, with its attack and defense being equal to half your life points. Next we have Weisel Synchro Absorption, also run at 1. Basically can be summoned by sending a Meklord to the graveyard. Next up, 3 Astromechanical. I'm probably stupid for including so many hard to summon monsters in this deck, huh? But trust me, I have my reasons. Astromechanical can be summoned by sending 3 Meklords, other than itself, from your hand to the graveyard. And yes, those other Meklords can be other copies of Astromechanical. Another hard to summon monster I run 3 of is Astro Dragon Asterisk. It can be special summoned from the hand if you control 3 or more Meklords. Unlike the other 2, I only run 1 of Astro Dragon Triskelion, given he was a hard-to-pull card. Anyway, he can be special summoned by banishing 3 Meklords with different names from the graveyard. Before we move on, you're probably wondering, how does this deck function with so many potential bricks? I haven't even gotten to the low-level monsters and the spelling traps yet. First up, 3 copies of Meklord Army of Weisel, able to give the Meklords piercing damage, and boost by 100 attack for every Meklord on the field. Grinnell also gets 100 attack for every Meklord on the field, like its Meklord Army Associate, and when it's normal summoned, it can have a target monster's attack points until the end phase. Unlike the other 2, Skeel gets 200 attack for every Meklord on the field. And when Meklord Army of Skeel is destroyed by battle and sent to the grave, it can special summon another Meklord Army monster from the deck, including other copies of Skeel. Next, we have a copy of Meklord Army Deployer Obligado. During the main phase, you can destroy him and special summon 2 Meklord Army monsters from the second defense position, except other copies of himself. Meaning, just by destroying him, you're guaranteed 2 Meklord Army monsters from the deck, and 1 of the 3 Meklord Emperors should they be in your hand. Pretty powerful combo. Next up is Meklord Nucleus Infinity Core. But, one more thing about Obligado is during the end phase of the turn he's sent to the graveyard, your opponent will take 100 damage for every Meklord you control. No, back to Infinity Core. It has a once per turn, can't be destroyed by battle effect. And if it's no more special summoned, it can search a Meklord spell or trap card. Also, if it's destroyed by card effect, you can special summon a Meklord Emperor monster from your hand or deck with a different attribute from the monsters you control, ignoring its summoning conditions. Pretty useful with a combo into the Meklord Emperors. But I do run other monsters besides Meklords. First up, 3 copies of Duragito. Good battle support. And yes, I do run a copy in the Sacred Beasts. So there's that. Oh, it's backwards. I also got 3 copies of Meklords. Another familiar face from the Sacred Beasts. And his hard once return trap effect is no hindrance. This is also where my lone copy of Dralago resides. Being a machine type, he fits in well. And if all the monsters your opponent controls are stronger than him, or equal in strength to him, he can strike directly. Next, the most interesting selection of monsters, the Code Breakers, starting with 3 copies of Zero Day. He makes every Link monster pointing to him lose 1,000 attacks. So this deck is basically the bane of Synchro and Link monsters at the same time. And those aren't the only Codebreaker monsters around. The extra deck is completely Codebreaker, with 3 copies of Virus Swordsman, which will let you summon a 0 day from your hand, deck, or graveyard to any zone a Link monster points to and is summoned. And a lone copy of Virus Berserker, which can summon 2 Codebreaker monsters from your hand or grave to any zones a Link monster points to. Now on to the spell and trap cards, starting with 3 copies of Meklord Deflection. A handy card for sure. You can target a Meklord you control, and its attack permanently becomes the combined original attack of all other Meklord monsters of all Meklord monsters you currently control. Although it can't attack directly although it can't damage your opponent that turn. It can also protect Meklord monsters from battle destruction and other destructions. Yeah, it's a destruction protector as well. Reboot's basically the monster reincarnation of the deck, and I also run this at 3 like Meklord Deflection. I can shuffle a Meklord from the hand into the deck, then target a Meklord in the grave and add it back to the hand. Now for the combo piece that makes sure this deck doesn't brick. 3 copies of the trap card, Meklord Astro the Eradicator. It lets you target 3 Meklord monsters with different names in the graveyard, and it lets you either add them to your hand or special summon them, ignoring the summoning conditions. Until the end of the next turn after the card's activation, you're locked into machine monsters. And if you control Meklord Astro, you can banish from the grave and pop a Synchro. Yeah, this deck is anti-Synchro and anti-Link. Lastly, we got Chaos Infinity. Another trap I run at 3. It basically forces as many defense monsters on the field as possible to attack position, then summon a Meklord monster from the deck or grave with its effects negated. However, it is destroyed during the end phase, which in turn, if one of these 3 happens to be in your hand, could summon them again. Yes, there's so many ways to route the Meklord Emperors. Anywho, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Catch you next time on Deck Specs.